you don't say that you're the bad bee to your own self, if you don't say that look how glowing you look like, let me tell you, yeah, sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, ah, Lucy, your skin is looking good. I just smile at myself and I'm like, oh my god, all the work has gone through. Because honestly speaking, I'm not waiting to get out of the house for someone to see how my face is glowing. I'm not waiting for anybody to tell me anything about that about myself, because to be honest, I'm telling you something, someone will tell you something and then back it up with something negative. So you cannot accept yourself. Nobody is going to accept who you are, because no one knows you as much as you know your own self. Boundaries, like what door have you put in your life that people have to knock in order to come into your life? Or are you that kind of open person that anybody can come in, anybody can walk in, anybody can say anything, anybody can come and eat, enter your kitchen, enter your bedroom, enter your bathroom, enter everywhere? Because you haven't set it. You let the table and then you decide who sits on the table, and those people who decide to sit on the table with you have a conversation with. Social media will make you feel like you're crazy, will make you feel like you don't deserve it, will make you feel like you're not good enough, because of how much you've consumed, how much you have seen, that you have reduced your own thinking, your authentic self, to that small level of thinking like you are a nobody, you don't deserve to have that thing, you need to do more in order for you to be validated in society. Well, this video we're going to be talking about self-worth and self-love. As long as I do have this channel and I do have the voice to speak, I will always remind you of your self-love and your self-worth, regardless of what the social media says, regardless of what the internet says, and regardless of what you have reduced yourself to be. So hey, my name is Lucy, and on this channel I really do talk about self-worth, self-development, healthy tips, productivity, anything to nourish, empower you, and to make you a better you when you watch this video. So on this particular video, I'm going to be talking about self-worth and self-love, and how to level up and be a better person when it comes to your self-love. Because honestly speaking, what I have seen on social media, what I've consumed on social media, has always made me feel like I need the latest thing, I need to have the latest mindset of something, I need to go with a certain group to agree with certain things. Because sometimes, as funny as it is, when so many people are agreeing to something, I tend to agree to it. I used to, not now. I tend to agree to it because I'm like, okay, I need to go where everyone is going. But honestly speaking, being authentic and loving yourself and knowing your worth is sometimes being the other person by saying, hold on a minute, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. If we look at it the other way, it's gonna be better. If you've been watching this channel for a long time, you know before I talk about anything, we define it first. We first of all break it down and know what exactly is this thing that we're going to be talking about, so we can have a baseline of where we're starting. So let's first of all find out what is self-worth. So according to our best friend Google, it says self-worth is the internal sense of being good enough and worthy of love and belonging from others. So from here, what we've got is number one, internal sense, number two, being good enough, and the other one, worthy of love and belonging from others. Your self-worth is measured by you only. You're asking yourself, what exactly are you talking about? Your self-worth is measured by you only. Now let me talk about myself. For me, I never understood what my self-worth is. I took anything, received everything, accepted anything, went into anything just for the sake of it. I did not have any worth because I wanted to feel like I was good enough. I wanted to feel like I deserved to be loved, and that is how much I measured myself. I never ever thought anything anymore than anything about my own self, to be honest with you. I just thought that I have to go here, I have to do that, I need to be around these people, I need to eat this, I need to do everything, and everything that I watched, I did. I consumed so much that my level of self-worth was measured on the fact that what I have seen. So before we get into the whole video and talk about everything, we're going to do a little bit of a quiz that is going to help you when you're watching this video to kind of like measure where you are when it comes to your self-worth and your self-love. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what words would you use to describe yourself? What words do you generally use to describe you as a being, you as someone who is watching this, you as an individual? The next question is, what value do you attach to yourself as a human being? Like you as a person, what value do you attach to yourself? Third one is, where did the messages of your worth come from? Where did you receive those messages of either you're worthy or either you're not worth, or your self-worth is low or high? So where did that message come from? Where did you get that validation from? Let me answer some of that question. You have no boundaries, number one. You seek attention from people. Number 3 is that you seek validation from other people. And number 4 is that you draw your energy from what you see. You draw your energy from what someone else is doing. You draw your energy from what other people are saying about you. That, my friend, that, my dears, just shows that you do not have any worth for your own self. For example, when someone that has low self-worth is treated poorly, they will blame themselves for that kind of treatment. But when someone has high self-worth of themselves, if they are treated poorly, they will not accept that mistreatment and they will speak much about it because they do understand what their self-worth is. So with that said, let's talk about 2 things that are very similar: self-worth and self-esteem. They're very, very kind of similar. Now let's define what self-esteem means. So self-esteem, according to our best friend Google, it says that it's how we value, perceive ourselves. It's based on our opinions and beliefs about ourselves, which can feel difficult to change. Now, let's talk about this because there is this kind of thing about self-worth and self-esteem. They're kind of put together, but you have to understand that in a way, they are slightly a little bit different and they're slightly a little bit similar. Now, a lot of narcissist people consider themselves to have a high self-esteem, and that is where they get it wrong. Now, let me break it down for you. Because the society focuses more on self-esteem than self-worth. But our society has made us feel that we need to be special in a certain kind of way. We need to be above average in every single thing in order for us to have that high self-esteem. But in actual sense, we all can't be above anything at the same time. We all can't be there, and that is where the society has gone wrong in making you feel like you don't have any worth at all. So according to one of the studies that I read from a doctor called Dr. Neff, she says that there is always someone richer, more attractive or successful than we are, and even when we do manage to feel self-esteem for one golden moment, we can't hold it in, because the main thing is that we equate our self-worth on comparison. The reason as to why you feel like you're not worth something is because you have compared yourself to another thing. So furthermore, in reading, it also says that when it comes to self-worth, if you equate your self-worth to external factors, it's actually more harmful to yourself. It says that when a study was made in the University of Michigan, they found that college students who base their self-worth on external sources, such as appearance, approval from others, performance in school, reported more stress, more anger, more academic problems and relationship conflicts. Now that shows you that how much you equate yourself to external factors is how much less happy you're going to be, stressed you're going to be, have problems in anything around you that you do. And social media is something that has not really helped. How many times do you go on social media and then you find that that person has got married, or you go on social media and you find that she just got herself a new bag, or she's got those numbers, or someone is on a nice trip, someone is on a nice holiday, someone has bought a designer this, someone is on TV talking about something, someone is doing this and that. So many times that when you watch that, you look at yourself and you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything in my life, I'm doing nothing at all in my life. Or you're saying to yourself, oh my God, I need to do more, I need to rush, time is running out, I'm getting older, I'm getting here and here. And honestly speaking, it makes you forget who you are in the first place. It makes you forget your authentic self. It makes you kind of like rethink and reevaluate yourself. It sometimes makes you even think that, why am I poor? Why was I born in a poor family? Why do I come from this family? Why don't I look like this? Why don't I behave like this? Why am I not so snatched like this? We've all played that game, because honestly speaking, social media is the one factor where we have measured our self-worth. So let's think about this. If you are in a position whereby you have to pick up a phone and call somebody and tell them about something so they can make you feel any better, if you're in a situation whereby when you see something on social media, you kind of like want to post the same thing, want to do the same thing, or if you see a friend of yours buying something new and you feel like, okay, I'm going to buy myself something new, then probably your self-worth and your self-esteem has really gone down. If we want to build on your self-worth, we are going to start from the baseline, and that is comparison. That is comparing yourself to anybody else. And let me first of all address this thing. We all have a critical inner voice. We all have a critical inner voice, but it depends on how much power we put that inner voice into practice, because that inner voice is like a coach. There is a way in which it coaches you to make you feel like, you know what, I am measured and equated to that particular thing. So this is a very important quote that I read that says, we all have a critical inner voice which acts like a cruel coach inside our heads that tells us we are worthless or undeserving of happiness. This coach is shaped from painful childhood experiences and critical attitudes we were exposed to in early life, as well as feelings that our parents gave us. While these attitudes can be harmful or hurtful, over time they become an engraved voice in us. As adults, we may fail to see them as an enemy, instead accepting their destructive point as a view of our own. That said and all put together, it explains to you that sometimes our self-worth and our self-esteem, it goes way past to when we were children, goes way past what our parents have told us, way past to what our primary caregivers have told us, and it becomes something that is very destructive and we kind of can't accept. But with that being said, is that you can challenge yourself to try as much as you can, run away from that inner voice, or challenge it and groom it in a way that it doesn't overtake your life. It exists in yourself. And that brings me to one of the first points that I want to say to you, that if you want to build your self-worth, you need to accept where you are in life. You need to accept the suffering that you have gone through, and that is going to help you in order for you to get to your self-worth. The reason that's why I'm using the word suffering is because sometimes we think that the pain, the troubles that we have gone through mean that we are not worth of that thing, and why are other people cruising through life and doing through things in life. But the truth is that social media, people around us, friends who we get validation from, and not being very honest. If someone is to be honest with you and tell you exactly what they've been going through in their lives, you'll sit down and be like, oh my God, I have been crying myself out. I've been feeling low about myself because I thought I was the only one going through this. But this is to tell you that it's not about that. You need to first of all accept yourself. When you accept yourself as a human being, as an individual, as someone that is worth living, I'm telling you, when it comes to your worth, you're going to be on a different sort of level. Your self-worth and your self-esteem, sometimes it changes according to environments and stuff, but that's a whole different topic we're going to talk about. But you need to first of all accept yourself. If you cannot accept yourself, nobody is going to accept who you are, because no one knows you as much as you know your own self. So the other thing that you have to try as much as you can if you are trying to be self-worth or know your worth and stuff like that, is to stop seeking validation from people that don't deserve you. Okay, let me say this. If you cannot call someone and ask them for advice, you cannot call someone and speak to them about how you feel in an open and honest situation, then let me tell you something. That person does not deserve any form of request of validation from them at all for your life, because now you have put your way, your opinion into somebody else's hands. That's what validation is. You're seeking permission. You seek permission from people that you know very well do not have your best interest. They do not have your best interest, but you are seeking validation from them. And the thing that I want to say to you right now is that your opinion matters more than anybody else's opinion of your own self. And that is what it is. The most common thing where we seek validation is male validation. I don't know how many times I can say this. A lot of people, we seek validation from men. If he takes you out on a date, if he likes you, if he replies back to your message, if he does this or if he does that, if he likes you better than he likes your friend, or if he does this, you seek validation from what a man does to you than to your own self. Like, let me tell you something. You may be watching this thing and you're feeling low, and when that guy sends that message, your levels of happiness are going to go up, isn't it? I'm lying. It happens to everyone. Just admit it. It happens to everyone. Just admit it. Yeah. Your levels of happiness are just going to go up. But the list of people you should be seeking validation from are the men, and also someone that you are emotionally attached to on this, whatever it is. But the thing is that it's so hard not to seek validation from someone else. But if you know what you're worth, you can always say no, you can always say yes. You can know that I am this, I am that, I am all these kind of things. If you don't say that you're the bad bee to your own self, if you don't say that look how glowing you look like, let me tell you, yeah, sometimes I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, Lucy, your skin is looking good. Or sometimes I actually look at myself and I'm like, wow, I did not know that that top really fits me in this way. And I just smile at myself and I'm like, oh my God, all the work has gone through. Because honestly speaking, I'm not waiting to get out of the house for someone to see how my face is glowing. I'm not waiting for anybody to tell me anything about that about myself. Because to be honest, I'm telling you something. Someone will tell you something and then back it up with something negative. Someone will say to you, oh, your face is glowing, but I can see the scars coming through. Now your focus is going to be on the scars because someone else mentioned it. So what I'm trying to say to you is that never seek validation from anybody else. Someone who does not deserve to sit on the same table with you, you don't seek validation from them, because you choose who sits on the table. You let the table and then you decide who sits on the table. And those people who decide to sit on the table with you, have a conversation with. It's not politics. It's not a panel. It's not a Q&A question whereby you do this and that, and that. Ask me, answer. What do you think I should do? What? Nah. That's not how we measure our self-worth at all. So another point to help you with leveling up your self-worth is to set boundaries. Someone with no set boundaries in their lives, they have no respect for themselves. Because let me tell you something. When you don't have boundaries, anybody else can come in anything to do with your life. Let's make it practical. Let's just make it practical. For example, if you did not have a door on your house, anybody else will come in. A dog, a cat, a mouse, human being, anybody else would enter the house. But the fact that you have a door on your house, it just practically means that you have set a boundary that in order for me to allow you into my house, you have to knock. And then I'll decide if you should come in or you shouldn't come in. That is a boundary I have set. The same thing with territories and countries. We always see that, you know what? Certain people are allowed to come in this country, certain people are not allowed to come into this country. They are territorial, if I'm pronouncing it properly, territorial boundaries that are drawn between countries. When that boundary has been breached without permission, that is when that country will react and say, you know what? We didn't authorize this. Why are you breaking this boundary? Because we're not giving you permission. Now, that is the best way I can explain to you boundaries. Boundaries like, what door have you put in your life that people have to knock in order to come into your life? Or are you that kind of open person that anybody can come in, anybody can walk in, anybody can say anything, anybody can come and eat, enter your kitchen, enter your bedroom, enter your bathroom, enter everywhere, because you haven't set a door. So for your self-worth and your self-esteem as a person, you have to set boundaries. And I always say this: the friends, the people, the environment that becomes angry because you set that boundary, it just means that they were happy when you didn't have none. It means that they did not even respect you, because someone who respects you, people who respect you, will respect the boundary that you have set, because they know that boundary is to help you be a better person in order to be a better person for them. Okay. Let's move back. In order for you to build on your self-worth and to build on your self-esteem, you have to go back to basics. You have to go back to basics of truly who you are, truly what brought happiness to you. Because I know there is a point in your life whereby you felt happy. There is a point in your life where you felt like you were worth everything and anything. Take away the things that went away from you, the things that they took away from you. You have to go back to the baseline, because self-worth and this world that we live in is like a mirror. Constantly people are mirroring things and stuff like that. If people are judging you, if people are looking at you and they're giving judgment, it's because you are reflecting a part of them that they are yet to accept. That being said, is that sometimes you have to understand that people are going to judge. People are always going to have opinions. People are always going to say something. There is being constructive and there is also being, very mean. And that's where you have to establish and understand something. Now, let me tell you something. When it comes to self-worth and judgment, it's a little bit complex in a way that I'm going to sort of explain it to you. But in your journey of self-worth, there are certain things that you'd have to learn from people. When you start putting yourself out there and challenging yourself and putting yourself in different situations, you're going to sometimes accept that some people are literally saying the truths about your own self. And when you become very defensive and say, I am not like this, I am not like that, that's not me, that's not that, then you are masking a certain insecurity within your own self, that you fear that if someone taps into it, or if someone says that to you, that they are true, and that hurts you the most. I don't know if I have broken that down properly. But you have to remember that with everything people say, you have to filter in what is to nourish you and what is to hurt you. When you know your worth as a person, when you start learning your worth, you're going to understand things that hurt you and things that are there to nourish you. But you have to be careful in how you say it. That is a whole different complex thing that I can explain later in a different sort of thing. But I just want to say to you that take time to know your own self. Do activities that help you. Surround yourself with people that when you talk to them, you feel filled. You feel like your cup is filled, you know. Social media is something that has led to so many people doing drastic things in their lives just because of that comparison of what they see, and just because of what social media sort of says and does and you know, explain. Sometimes I always think that you're better off doing the basic things that are true to your own self, things that you know that cause happiness, even if it's not a trend. Don't go with the trend. Don't go with what this person is doing, what this person is dating, what flowers they are having. Just stay to the basics of what you want and what makes you happy, and let that be your own trend and your own boundary. But remember this, material things, things you've bought, things you've acquired, things you've got from this world do not equate to your self-worth and self-worth love. Do not equate to your self-worth. If you attach yourself to those materialistic things, you're going to be chasing the next best thing, the next thing, the next that, all over the place, and you will not have any sort of baseline or foundation. So try as much as you can not to equate your self-worth on how much you achieve, but on how much you have grown as a person and how much you are allowing in your own self, okay? So I hope this video has really helped you. I hope this video has encouraged you. I hope this video has explained certain things and given you 1 or 2 or 3 tips that can help you. But if that has done that for you, please leave it down in the comments, because I want to know what you think about this, where your self-worth has been, where your journey has been, and what you generally think about this. Because honestly speaking, self-worth is just knowing that you deserve more than anything else. It's tapping into your inner self. It's believing that you've got this. Trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Your opinions matter and they are valid. Anyway, until next time, I remain Lucy A. Mwah.